solving three-step equations with distribution. So today is our final three-step equation technique. And for these equations, you'll notice that there are parentheses and a number outside them. So the property we use is called distribution. Distribution is pretty easy. I'm sure you've done it before. But anytime I have a number that's outside parentheses like this, we distribute that number to the terms inside the parentheses. And it gets distributed to everything in the parentheses. And any number that's right outside parentheses, that means multiplication. We don't usually write the multiplication, it's just understood that that's what it is. So I have to distribute, using multiplication, the 3 to the x and the 2. So I'd go 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. So I can get rid of the distribution, or get rid of the parentheses by distributing the 3. So on this problem, I'm going to get rid of the parentheses by distributing the 6 first. Drawing these, we call them rainbows in, just helps you keep things straight. So first I'm going to do 6 times 5x, which is 30x. And then I'm going to do 6 times 2, which is 12. Once I've gotten rid of the parentheses, now it's just a two-step equation, where I would subtract 12 first, giving me 30x equals negative 30. Then divide both sides by 30, and I get x is negative 1. For the second example, I would distribute the negative 2 to both terms. And be careful when you're distributing negatives because it may change the sign of these. So first I do negative 2 times negative 10, and negative times a negative is positive. And then I'll do negative 2 times 2, which makes it negative 4. And notice the x doesn't get affected, it's just the number in front of it. So the negative 2 times 2 is 4, and the x just stays. Now it's a two-step equation where I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides, because remember the 20 is positive. Leaves me with negative 4x equals negative 40. Be careful when you're sliding like this negative 4x down. This negative sign stays with the 4. Okay? It doesn't go with the 20, it goes with whatever happens next in the equation. Now I divide both sides by negative 4. I get 10. Now, there is another method you could use to solve these, and that's realizing that this is 5 times the parentheses. So I could get rid of that 5 if I divided both sides of the equation by 5. Those would cancel out, and I'd be left with 9 minus 4x, and 225 divided by 5 is 45. And now I could just solve this equation. So first I would subtract 9, which would be 36. Divide by negative 4, that would be negative 9. So dividing by what's being distributed on both sides of the equation is another method you could use. You get the same answer either way, which I'll show you by doing this problem again using distribution. So I could just distribute this. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20x. I would subtract 45 from both sides. Give me negative 20x equals 225 minus 45, which is 180. Divide both sides by negative 20. I'd get x is negative 9. So either way, whether you divide by that number on both sides or you distribute it, you'll get exactly the same answer. And if you look, it's almost exactly the same amount of writing too. So it's really your choice, whichever one you prefer. So for this one, let's do the distribution method. So I distribute the 7. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 5 is again 35. Now it's a two-step equation where I will subtract 35 from both sides. Don't be afraid to use your calculator. That's a 35. And this is negative 140. Divide both sides by 35. And it would be negative 140 divided by 35, which is negative 4. I'll do this one using the division method, where instead of distributing the 4, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So I get 2x plus 8 equals 96 divided by 4 is 24. Then I could subtract 8 from both sides, giving me 16. Divide by 2 on both sides gives me 8. For this last one, let's do the distribution method. So I have 7 times 9, which is negative 63, because that's negative 9. And 7 times negative 2 is negative 14x. Now it's a two-step equation. Add 63 to both sides. Be careful to bring down the negative with the 14. And this is 168. Then I divide both sides by negative 14. And if you have to use your calculator, don't worry about that. The answer is negative 12. So for these three-step equations, we use distribution as one method. Or if you want, instead of distributing the 5, you could divide both sides by that number. Either way, you'll end up with a two-step equation that you can solve using our previous methods.